Hey everyone, it's Kale, it's Cruise Comp Captain. Welcome back to my channel. Today we have a very exciting collaboration with another YouTuber. His name is Derek Duck at Derek Duck on YouTube, and he and I today are going to go into a little bit of comp strategy and different types of things. It's going to be a little mini masterclass on different types of comp strategy. He and I are doing it in slightly different ways, so I'm really interested to bring him on. So welcome, Derek. You want to say
Hi,
a little bit about yourself and about your channel for my viewers?
great to be here. I have a very old channel, about 19 years old. It's kind of all over the place, but it's sort of found its rhythm in what I'm most passionate about, which is getting free things, finding comps, living that nomad life, and using whatever strategies and tricks and loopholes that I can find. And definitely seems very similar to what the kind of work you do. Yours seems to be more sea-based, while mine may be a little more terrestrial. But at the core, they have that same kind of foundation. So that's really what my channel is all about.
That sounds fantastic. And for anyone who's new and hasn't seen my channel, as Cruise Comp Captain, I live on comped cruises almost full time at this point and have been for years. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and check out my channel and check out Derek's as well in the description. So without further ado, we're going to break kind of this conversation down into three categories. We're going to go over comp strategy, which is how we earn the comps in the first place. We're going to do a little bit of scheduling strategy. So once you have the comps, how do you piece them all together to make a lifestyle out of it? And then we'll finish with a little bit of kind of the pros and cons of the lifestyle considerations, things you might not consider initially, the good and the bad. So without further ado, let's talk about comps, because that's what people are really interested in, right? Whether it's land or sea or anything else, if we're playing, we want to be earning something. It's just kind of that's the fun part of this lifestyle, right? So for me personally, with the cruising, I always like to go into a cruise knowing beforehand, before I start playing, what I'm targeting. So as I recommended in my other videos, almost every cruise line is going to have a list of the cruises that they're offering for onboard certificates. So instead of just going in and bopping around willy-nilly, which you can do if that's enjoyable, but if you want to do targeted strategy, I always look to see, hey, how hard are these cruises to earn? How many points, how much coin in is required, which is different for every cruise line. Once you see a cruise that you really like, then I kind of decide, okay, do I have the funds and the things required to achieve that cruise? And I go from there. Because the next thing beyond just picking a cruise that I like is kind of being able to forecast how much money it might take. Gambling is up and down, right? Sometimes it goes really, really well and you kind of win out the gate and you earn lots of points. And sometimes it doesn't go so well. So that's why I, on my channel, like to talk about low volatility slot machines and playing at a reasonable size bet, where it's a good balance between playing longer but not having as large of swings, so that if you're playing a really large bet on a very volatile machine, you could blow your whole bankroll right away. So that's another consideration that I have all kinds of videos on my channel, but I want to consider volatility. So once I've targeted a cruise, and I consider how, what bet size I need to play to be able to make the money last. I also then want to go ahead and start playing and enjoy and maybe adjust as I need to. If I have more time and I'm enjoying playing the casino, I can reduce my bet size and reduce the volatility. And if I'm running out of time and the cruise is coming up at the end, I got to ramp it up a little bit. But between earning on board, which is the targeted offers, you can, even if you don't reach those, sometimes you'll still get account offers. So it's not the end of the world if you don't get there. Always stay within your budget and have fun kind of that way. So Derek, what are some cruise, or not cruise, but comp strategies that you use to earn your comps, whether land or sea or whatever else?
Land or sea. A little bit on sea. I just got off a cruise myself on Carnival, because basically those two different things will communicate with each other. There is an organization called Casinos at Sea, and it does often get its recommendations, from the casinos like in Vegas. Once you get that player's card, right? That's the secret to everything. Once you get that player's card, always use it. Never just play willy-nilly. Even if you're scared, oh, they're tracking me, they're going to go and tweak it just because I got on there. Never do anything without a player's card. Never do anything without the idea of maybe getting points or getting rewards, because they do give them to you, even if you play a very little. And if you watch my channel, you'll see I'm a very low roller. Okay, people have this. They love to say, "Oh, isn't that dangerous? How? Yeah, you got a free cruise, but how much did you spend? Oh, you got a night at the Luxor in the penthouse. You can see my video on that." But how much? Yeah, I know that it's a thousand a night, but didn't you spend 3 or 4 thousand? No, I didn't. And I show that at the end of each of my videos. It's actually just very little, but a lot of it is strategy. Okay, and just being careful. And if you do it wrong, and if you do let the emotions take over, then all of a sudden, yes, you could lose thousands and thousands of dollars, and it wouldn't be worth it. So when we say the word strategy and comps, the two go together. This is not simply playing a whole lot, playing $1 million and hoping to get something. That's not at all what the kind of videos that Kale or I will talk about. So, a lot of what I do is very low level slots play, and I base a lot of it on coin in. Now, don't forget, just because you put $10 into machine, that doesn't mean that they're counting that as your coin in. Let's say you lose a little, you win a little, you lose a little, you win a little. After a while, that $10 became 30, and then it became 20, and it shifted. So I like to really keep track of what that coin in was. If I took $10 and over the course of an hour, that $10 could actually have been $100 of coin in, right? And that's really what the casinos are looking at. Now, you'll see some machines, some slots, or even stadium style electronic games that might say player points not rewarded on this type of game. Those are the ones that are not that are low volatility, the ones where the casino doesn't have much of an edge. But that doesn't mean that. So I may not get a next tier level, or I may not get a reward from the hotel, but that doesn't mean that the casino isn't watching what I'm doing. So I go to Vegas a lot. I play a little, but I do play, and I let them tabulate my spend, and I'm strategic about it too. I'm not just going to go anywhere. Okay, I'm going to go to a place where I know that I might go. Maybe I want MGM rewards, or maybe I'm chasing Caesars, or I'm chasing Affinity. One of those different rewards things. So when you go to one of these, pick the one. Use strategy in mind. Don't just put money at the airport, because that's gambling, and you're never going to get a reward for that, right? This is not about pure gambling. This is about comp strategy. Another thing I do is credit card manufactured spend. And you might say, well, what does that have to do with casino life? It has a lot to do with it, actually. You can see your Amex, your Chase. When you can manufacture spend on those credit cards, for instance, reselling gift cards, that's something I'm pretty big with. Maybe do some arbitrage with reselling, items on Amazon or Walmart. I've done videos about those too. If you can get enough spend, it doesn't mean that you actually spend. I didn't spend $500,000 on my Amex last month, but I used it. And eventually, those like Marriott and Hyatt, those are actually tied into very big casino resorts. So you can get yourself free nights that way too. Sometimes I do mattress runs. Maybe I'll stay one extra night because that'll get me to the next tier of a hotel. And that in itself gives more comps. It gives me more free hotels and upgrades. So that's something I do. And another thing I like to do, and it's kind of silly, but what am I going to say? I love free drinks. Okay. I go to Vegas for free drinks, whether I'm in the lounge or I just sit there. You don't even have to play. Just pretend. Just sit there and pretend. Vegas there's a reason they call it Disneyland for adults and that sort of thing. And I think that's a good segue back to what Kale says. I was watching that TV show Hacks on TV, and someone was on a cruise ship, and they said, no wonder people like cruises. This is like Vegas on the seas. I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, that's sort of my strategy for getting comps.
A lot of really interesting things you talk about coin in, because at the base of both of our strategies, you really need to have the coin in, and like you said, always using a player's card, always play tracked. If you're keeping track of it, they're definitely keeping track of it, and they can't reward you if they don't know who you are. So now, once we have these comps, right? Once you earn Vegas comps, hotel comps, anything else like that, um, we have to go about utilizing the comps, right? And so I'm going to talk a little bit about comp strategy for scheduling. So just because we earn comps doesn't automatically mean we're able to redeem them. And in fact, a lot of offers we receive, some of them go unused just because they're offered at different parts of the country or different places at the same time. You can only use some. And casinos or cruise ship casinos, they don't, that's part of the secret sauce, is they don't expect you to be able to use very many of the comps they offer you. And that's part of, from my part, the the cruise hacking is that I will have dozens, and other players as well will have dozens of offers come into their account from perhaps just one cruise where they played. Now, why do the casinos do that? Because most people are pretty busy. Most people live a full and busy life, and they take a cruise once every couple years or something like that. So they're thinking, hey, this person's going to schedule one cruise a year from now and we'll try to get some money back. They're not expecting people like me or you, Derek, to be like, I'm going to use all of the comps in my account. One, most people aren't thinking strategically to do that. And two, more importantly, like most people don't have time to do that because most people don't set their lives up that way or don't know that it's possible to even do that. So when I'm thinking about using cruise offers, I want to look at all the offers available to me first. So the first thing I do before I spend money out of my own pocket is to see what's being offered for me, right? I'll go into my account. The things will be received in the mail. They're also in my online account, which is even easier and updated even faster. Look at the offers in my account, kind of grid out, okay, where are these offers coming from? They might be from all kinds of ports all over the country. From there, you say, okay, do I have any multiple cruise offers that are in the same area around the same time? Because one of the things to really reduce your overall cost and make this more feasible, to reduce your travel overhead, is to string a bunch of cruises together. And that's how I live on cruise ships full time. It's not like, oh, I go fly to a cruise port for a week, then I fly back, then I fly back the next week, and then I fly back, right? Not only would that be very expensive in travel, that would be very, very tedious compared to just staying on the same ship or even just hopping from one ship to the next in the same port. So you look at, first, you take all the information available. What are my offers? What's included? Which of these offers am I interested in doing? Maybe the ship's better. Maybe the itinerary is better. Maybe it's new and exciting because I haven't been on it yet. Maybe there's novelty to travel, right? You want to also enjoy your comps. And then there's a strategic value. For me, because I play poker on cruise ships and make money that way, some ships just happen to be better than others, right? The slot machines might all create the same opportunity for me to earn new cruises, but sometimes the poker tables are better on one versus the other. So there's strategic considerations for the gameplay as well as the strategic for the scheduling. So then you kind of go about that. Like I said, the name of the game for long-term scheduling and travel is using what you have available, and fewer flights, fewer overhead costs, and then going from there. So yeah, what about you and your scheduling travel?
Well, yeah. Well, right now is a very interesting time. I'm not sure if you've seen, there's plenty of videos. You may have even made one about how tourism in Vegas is down. The world is changing, the economy is changing. It's kind of an exciting time, especially if you're a bottom feeder like I am. I'm a little parasitical in nature. But so a lot of these things, like on the cruise I was just on, I didn't find out about it until like 2 days before, because the worst thing a cruise ship or a casino can have is an empty room. That's it. Okay. They can't make any money from me or anyone if no one's there. They want you there. There was a time, my first time I learned about this was when my grandma, they used to take a bunch of old ladies from the retirement home and put them in a bus, a free, it was free, a comped bus, and ship them all the way up to Vegas. All, no, what they want is my poor grandma's Medicare or Social Security or whatever. They can't get that. They can't get little old ladies playing a slot machine unless they're there. And in this day and age where you can do sports betting on your phone, there's a new casino next door and all over the country now. Getting people there is becoming more of a struggle. And so, I mean, if you look right now, look at Resorts World, they sent me an email not even like 20 minutes ago. I want to talk about it in my next video. And it's please come. I mean, they're not saying it like that, but it's basically, it's almost like they're begging me to come. They'll give me a free night, 3 free nights in a row, and maybe see a show, that sort of thing. If you're looking, read up, just go on Google. Resorts World loses $100,000 a day. This is a billion-dollar resort, and they're just not, they're on that far end of the strip. And if you watch my videos, the ones that call me, since I'm a low roller, are going to be the Rio, the Silver Sevens, the Excalibur, the ones that are far away, right? The Caesar's Palace will be fine, okay? The big ones in there, the Aria is going to be fine, but a lot of places are really struggling. So you have to be ready for that, okay? If you have to be ready for a moment's notice sort of thing, and that's the way I am. I also have the Frontier Airlines Go Wild season pass. Now, I posted about that on my channel. That costs $299 for the year. And then all your flights are free. So wherever I am, I may be in Seattle. Sometimes right now I'm in Austin. Um, I just check it, and I don't care who's subsidizing them. There are plenty of direct flights to Vegas. And so you just have to be watching all the time. I think that's something else that maybe Kale had sort of mentioned. Just when you start your day, you have to just be open to the fact what's available. It's almost like some giant leaderboard or something. Where can I get a free flight? What casino is begging to have people come? What's going on? Yes, there are some blackout dates, that sort of thing, but a lot of times they really want you there. So I'm always cognizant of that. When I get to these hotels, I don't just want to, I want upgrades too. So I talk about this. You may have seen other videos on the $20 trick and sometimes I do that. I stand there and I'm checking in, and I have three things laid out on the table. Um, my ID, the credit card to hold the room, and a $20 bill, right? And I just say, hey, you all know that I am a gold member with MGM, right? I'm just reminding you. All right. Just sometimes I get an upgrade. And then they're like, oh, okay. And sometimes they say, oh, we don't have anything. And then I just pull that $20 back. And I'm like, are you sure? And other times they say, well, Mr. Derek, I can get you in the penthouse suite tonight. Watch my channel. I have had that happen twice to me, and I made sure I pushed that $20 to them. There's games you play. I'm a Hyatt globalist. I did it using credit card manufacturing spend. And with the globalist, the Rio loves me, the Venetian loves me. There's so many tricks, and I hope you can visit my channel and also check out Kale's as well to really see to really dive deep into this exciting world that we do, which isn't just about the strategies, like he said, but how do you enjoy it and how do you make the best of all of it?
Great point. So let's talk about that. So it's an interesting lifestyle, and even you and I both do it slightly different ways. I mean, it sounds like I'm booked out for a long time because of that type of thing, and you're taking advantage of last minute deals because of things that are underbooked, right? There's all kinds of ways to do this, and everyone can find a style that would work for their preference. But aside from that, there's also this is a very unique lifestyle. A lot of people think that I've talked to think it's really, really exciting and really, really interesting. And a lot of people say I could never do that. So for me, a couple of the pros and cons of a lifestyle with the full-time cruising and traveling in general is that I think cruising is already one of the, and old school Vegas used to really be like this too, like really, really great value. Like there was no better value in old school Vegas. It's like, oh man, they get you there, and maybe it's changing now a little bit, like you mentioned. But for cruising, I always find that it's like a one big package deal. It's already packaged up as incredible value. Even if people are paying out of pocket, they find it's a great value vacation. You have your lodging, you have your food, you have your entertainment, and they're all rolled up into one upfront price. You can bundle other things to make it cheaper. Then when you start doing casino strategy and hacking and stuff like that, then the value just doesn't even feel fair sometimes. I mean, it's like you can live on cruise ships full time if you do it intelligently. And that's why I recommend checking out things on my channel, because some people kind of, oh yeah, I got it, and then go overboard. But if you do it intelligently and you figure out,
Do they really
what
go
works for you,
overboard?
Yes, they do. Watch out for the news. No,
Sorry.
God forbid anyone actually goes overboard physically. But yeah, another accidental pun, classic. But it can be a really really great value when you start going that way, and it can be more affordable. Now it doesn't mean it doesn't come with its drawbacks, and you have to be honest with yourself about what kind of person you are, because people don't realize that, hey, I went on a cruise for 3 days or for a week and it was a blast, and I partied the whole time, and I ate way too much and all this other kind of stuff. And it's like, that is a fully different experience to go really, really hard and all out for 3 to 7 days, but try 3 months and see if you're still partying that hard, eating that same way and stuff like that, and if it doesn't affect you. And also, if you're extroverted, you'll do better. Cruise ships offer an incredible socialization opportunity, but if you've been doing it longer term, there might be times, which I've experienced heavily, that you're just like, I would like more quiet spaces now, please. And it's a balance. And then you're away from that and then you crave it again. Right. So just being honest with both the how it changes as a lifestyle, just like anything else. Anything that you do for fun for a short term might change when you do it long term. And there's tremendous value and there's tremendous things in this lifestyle. So just finding the things you really enjoy, sticking to those, and then letting everything else roll off your back is really great. But what are some of your thoughts about the pros and cons of lifestyle for you?
Yeah, it is definitely a lifestyle. I think if you search for other sort of casino or gambling nomads, sort of like we are, who spend I spend about a third of the year in resorts and casinos in Vegas, and I usually go on about 3 or 4 cruises per year. You can see all of them archived on my channel. We're 1,000 videos. I can't even believe it. But
Wow.
yeah, and it for me, I would say you heard how I said earlier that a lot of it has to be last minute. Okay. A lot of these deals, these incredible deals, they're like I said, when they first start a cruise, or even like when they're planning for Q1 or whatever at a casino, all of those rooms are at a premium cost. And as time goes by, they may realize that they haven't filled all these rooms. They haven't filled all the cabins on the cruise, that sort of thing, or the hotel is at 70% capacity or something like that. So a lot of times it's going to be last minute. That's what I've noticed. And people ask me on my channel all the time, "When's your next time to Vegas?" It's like, I don't know, next week, tomorrow. Whenever I see that there's something, and then I'll be there as long as I can. In December I was there for over a month, just straight, and it just went from one hotel to the next, and it was a real like puzzle, and I'm putting the pieces together, and I need a flow chart almost. So I've got and a real well-crafted calendar that shows these 3 days I'll be at the Rio. These 3 days I'm going to be Excalibur. These 3 days I have to go back to the Rio. And you have to be kind of really flexible with that. None of this is very easy or too comfortable in order to make these sort of things happen. Also, I think a lot of it, if you watch other YouTubers who also live this nomadic life, a lot of them are solo travelers. This would be hard with a large family with kids who have school, that sort of thing. I don't have any of that, so I get up and go as I please. And in this new age of work from home, work remote, who's to say my home isn't, the Luxor penthouse suite? And sometimes when I come on the Teams meeting, they're like, "Where are you?" And I'm like, "This is my house today." This but in this new age of flexibility, of maybe not the classic traditional family lifestyle. Maybe that's not for you. It certainly isn't for me. It really appeals to that sort of person. And I think you kind of want to really check before you go into this delve into this lifestyle, that this lifestyle is for you. Yes, it has amazing perks. It really is. I'm living the life of a millionaire, although I have no money. Which is funny. And so to live that life, you have to be prepared to let other parts of life go, and you have to ask yourself if that's something you're willing to do. I mean, I can't even have a dog, poor thing. I would never ever see him. I mean, because I'm running around, I would have to board him on a moment's notice. It would be crazy. Um, but one thing that Kale said, especially with his long times where he's at sea, is you can really have a completely nomadic life like this. And the spending, yes, you will spend a little. You'll spend a little, but just think about it like rent. Okay, if you're in Austin here and rent $3,000 a month, maybe instead of that, you'd be willing to do $1,000 a month, play some slots, that sort of thing, and then just live in casinos instead. In and just and view it that way. View it with what you have in your budget and what kind of lifestyle you really want to have. And a lot of this overlaps with what Kale says. The cruise life is very interesting. In fact, one of the most exciting things about for me on cruises is the use of credit cards, where you can charge huge amounts of money to your room. I mean, in the slot machine, you can say, okay, I'm going to charge $5,000 today. It's usually 5,000 is the limit, and then they charge it to your room at the end, and you don't actually have to play it. Now you should play a little bit because otherwise they'll cut you off. They do that to me all the time. But if you play a little bit, then all of a sudden at the very end of your cruise, your bill is like maybe $50,000 or something like that. But you have the 50,000 in cash. Now you want to be careful. I mean, if the ship sinks or something, that money certainly isn't FDIC insured. But think of all of the miles and points you get from that. Now you have free first class flights in addition to free cruises. Now you have free hotels in Vegas for whenever you get back to land. So you see, if you plan multiple strategies using both of the casinos on land or at sea, it can really be very lucrative. You just have to be careful. Don't fall overboard. Don't let your money, put it in that safe, that sort of thing. And when you're playing in those slot machines, don't get too emotional about it because you could easily they're throwing free drinks at you. They want you to get all turned and crunked and end up playing, your entire retirement funds on that. That's what they want. But if you're careful and if you have a strategy and you know your limits and you've got your life, all your ducks in order, so to speak, it can be lucrative and it can be so much fun. And I hope that you can, watch my channel and Kale's as well and see from our real life experiences how we handle this and what sort of strategies we use and just how much fun it really is.
Wow, that's great. And I wanted to just touch on that last part you were saying, where going in with the strategy, which is kind of the point of this little call, this little collaboration right here, is all about strategy. And if you think about it, whether it's a cruise ship casino or one of the big, conglomerates in Vegas or anywhere else in the country, every casino that runs has its own strategy, right? It's got its marketing strategy, like you said, trying to get people in the doors. And it's evolved over time. Like I said, old school Vegas, they would just try to get people there. Food was cheap, entertainment was cheap, all this kind of slots were loose. But it was so much fun. People lost themselves in it. Comps were flowing and people are like, this is great. And then before they know, they lose all this money, even though it seems like such a great value. Now it's more high end. These strategies from the casinos are also changing all the time. So if you want to be a smart player and you want to win like they are winning in their way, makes sense to have a strategy of your own. And it also makes sense to learn from Derek's strategy, learn from my strategy, but then decide what you want. You might have different, our ways might be very extreme for the average person, or they might be exactly what you didn't know was possible. There's no judgment in any of that. Everyone find their own strategy and, take and learn. And there's a whole type of thing out there, but having a strategy for yourself really helps you combat the casino strategy of getting you drunk and taking all your money, right? Tails all this time. So
Exactly.
I've had a really great time talking about this. I'm glad we were able to hopefully provide some value for my viewers, for your viewers, and anyone else who's out there who's finding us for the first time. Please check out my channel, Cruise Com Captain. Check out Derek's at Derek Duck. Like, subscribe. If any of these things we were talking about today were interesting, go back on our channels and we have way more to dig in to those types of things. We only had a limited amount of time for today to talk about this, but follow along for future videos. You know, if you like and subscribe to our channels, and go digging. Like Derek said, he has 1,000 videos on his channel. That's crazy. You know,
Yeah.
that's amazing amount of value. So if you want to go check him out, check him out. And Derek, for you, anything else you wanna talk about that we didn't get into?
Just, I think there's a little bit of a misconception that you have to be rich or special or maybe even like a famous influencer who gets things from the casino, but really anyone can do what we do. There's nothing special about me. The casinos probably don't even know who I am. You know, I'm just a little number on a spreadsheet that sometimes comes in and spends. So I would just say, don't feel too intimidated. If you use the right strategy, it doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, anyone can do what we do if you just do it correctly and carefully and have a good time.
There you go. Well, there you have it, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Check out both of our channels and have a great day. And we'll see you in the next video. See you guys.